Hi there guys, it's Mike from MCQ Bushcraft here. I'm just out on a little walk along this river. There's a lot of crayfish in this river and keeping my eyes peeled, but it's very, very cold at this time of year for them and they slow right down. But in the summer, I imagine there'll be plenty and they'll be far easier to catch. But while I've been walking along, the signs of spring are everywhere. And one thing for me that I always keep my eyes out for at the beginning of spring, especially when I'm in ancient woodlands like this one here, is the wild edibles that are emerging on the ground. And I've just spotted one that I think that is really quite a tasty wild edible, and it's quite easy to identify. And I just thought I'd show it to you. I have done other videos about it, but if any of you are getting out this time of year, it might be something just to keep your eyes open for. And this is Ramsons, or wild garlic, a member of the Alliaceae family. And it's a lovely wild edible, and if you're ever out doing some bushcraft and you'll want to cook some bannock, some flatbread, or do a bit of cooking and you have a stir fry on the go, you should try adding this to it. There are many things you can eat about this wild edible. You can eat the whole plant. So here we have one with a small bud, and that is a dead giveaway. These waxy linear leaves are just an absolute giveaway, and it's not too potent yet. You can smell this stuff for a very, very long way away in the spring when it's really blooming. But if you just take the leaves and crush them and smell them, they'll smell just like garlic, and that is the best way of identifying this. The buds are delicious and can be added to salads, and the leaves are tasty too. And I actually prefer this edible when it's young. It gets very strong when it gets older. But there is a little trick to getting the sweeter stuff when it's older, and you can actually pop it out the ground and just eat the roots, and then they are delicious. They're actually sweet, they have no garlic taste whatsoever, and it's almost like you're eating a little sweet when you're out in the woods. I will mention that you do not want to be picking this sort of stuff or doing any foraging at all by the sides of footpaths where dogs do their business or other animals do their business, because you really want to minimise the possibility of contracting any kind of parasites. And don't pick them with bird droppings on either. If you are going to and you have no choice, which is fairly unlikely, you just want to wash them, but I'd pick the ones that aren't covered in bird poo as well. So just give it a bit of an inspection, make sure it's clean. You can always take them home and wash them. I'd usually eat things straight out the ground a lot of the time if they're clean. This river's very clean, I could wash it in that, but again, I'm probably taking more risks doing that. Probably better off just eating it as it is. Very, very strong. But this kind of thing is wow. Yeah. I'm not going to be getting any action tonight, not with that breath. But there's another plant over there that looks very similar to Ramsons, and it's actually a poisonous plant, and we're going to go and take a look at that. So we have one here that is often mistaken for Ramsons, and to the trained eye you think, how on earth can someone mistake it? But it happens, because when it's young and it's coming out of the ground and emerging, sometimes people get it wrong because they gather things in quantity, and this can grow in close proximity to Ramsons, which it does, and you can see the curled leaf there. This is Lords and Ladies. Lords and Ladies can be quite a beautiful plant. It actually produces these large clusters of berries, which you may see later on in the year when it's actually fruited. But it's a plant that attracts insects through almost thermal regulation. It is able to generate heat and attract insects to it. One of the few plants that actually can do that. It's quite incredible. So if we have a look at the leaf here, very different to a Ramsons leaf in shape, in size, in the structure of the actual leaf. The only thing that's really similar is it's quite waxy, got a bit of stretch to it, and it has that same kind of bruising that a lot of those sort of waxy leaves can have. It's really when it's young that people mistake it, but it's one I thought I'd point out in case you're going out, because it will grow in close proximity to Ramsons. Eating Lords and Ladies won't kill you, but there is another plant that is responsible for quite a lot of deaths around Europe and is mistaken for Ramsons. It can look very similar, and it's called Lily of the Valley. Lily of the Valley is a very beautiful plant, and if you look at the flowers, they're completely different to Ramsons. Ramsons are like a bit of a firework with multiple flower heads, and Lily of the Valley are almost like the sort of droplets that you sort of see on snowdrops and things like that. And also Lily of the Valley has 2 to 3 leaves per leaf stem, whereas Ramsons has a single stem per leaf. I've done a very extensive video on Ramsons. The reason I'm making a video about it today is because I thought I'd cover a wild edible that is starting to emerge, and if you're out doing some bushcraft, you're out camping, perhaps you want to find this wild edible as well and introduce it into your cooking, because it is very delicious to add to things like bannock and stir fries and various other dishes that you might be making out in the field. And it's a really easy one and a tasty one to use if you like garlic. But I hope that video's helped, and I'll put the link in the description below to the other video I've done on Ramsons, which is far more extensive if you are interested in that wild edible and the specifics about Lily of the Valley. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Take care.